Joel Embiid.
Hakeem Olajuwon.
Joel Embiid. Hakeem Olajuwon.
Joel Embiid. Olajuwon for three.
Morant in a thicket of defenders. No! Loose! Diving! Collision! Harden!
On Hall of Fame Episode 1 of NBA Now and Then, The Greatest Comparisons, we compare two of the most skilled big men in NBA history.
He held down Houston in the 80s and the 90s.
Their footwork unparalleled.
He's doing things today that no center ever dreamed of.
Dominant on both sides of the ball.
They've helped put Africa on the map with dynamic displays of greatness.
We are thrilled to present to you Joel Embiid and Hakeem Olajuwon. I'm Uriah.
I'm Maurice.
I'm Lucas.
And I'm Ben.
And we are here to talk NBA
Now and Then.
All right, welcome back, everyone. We're going to be talking about two of the greatest centers ever to put on an NBA jersey. We're going to start off with a general overview in terms of how we feel about this comparison. When you think about these players, Lucas, what makes this comparison so special?
I mean, as far as I know, they're the only two centers from Africa to ever win MVP. So I think that just starts it off right there.
I would say they kind of changed the game for the center. They have guard skills, post up, and they're both really dominant on both ends.
Both skilled big men down low. Both of them have great footwork. Both of them have amazing touch. It's uncanny, the comparisons between the both of them.
Seeing these guys play, and I remember growing up watching Hakeem play, they were so skilled. And to be as big, as tall as they are, it truly is amazing to me. And also to know that they came from Africa, obviously, where in the NBA, it was mostly an American sport, especially in the 80s. And then they basically kind of created an opportunity and brought the NBA game to an entire continent. And now more and more players are starting to be interested in the NBA from the great continent of Africa.
First quarter. Background.
What we're going to do right now is we're going to go into the first quarter, which is my job, and to give you the background with each player. So I'm going to start with, obviously, the process, a.k.a. JoJo, a.k.a. Troel, or Joel Embiid. Before he got those nicknames, though, he was born on March 16th, 1994, in Cameroon. Joel Hans Embiid is the son of Thomas and Christine Embiid. He grew up a volleyball and soccer player, and he didn't start playing basketball until his teen years. Now, if you're wondering who introduced him to basketball, or at least the idea of playing in the NBA, former NBA player Luc Mbah a Moute noticed Embiid in 2011 and encouraged him to play high school basketball in the United States. Embiid played high school basketball at Montverde Academy and the Rock School in Florida, where he averaged 13 points, 9.7 rebounds, and 2 blocks. He played in both the Jordan Brand Classic and the Nike Hoops Summit. So let's go to Maurice first with this one. What stands out to you about his early years before college?
He wasn't really skilled and developed as much as you would want from a 16-year-old that has any intentions on playing college or pro basketball. When he was 16, he was, I want to say, 6'8". He had the physical gifts for sure.
Yeah, to piggyback on what Maurice said, definitely the two sports he played, the volleyball and soccer, you see it with the footwork, you see it with the defense, and actually both players have that background. So it's interesting that this is a comparison.
Yeah, Ben stole my point there. Besides, before playing basketball, he wanted to play volleyball. He wanted to be a soccer player. The footwork. I played soccer before I played basketball, and that certainly helped me when I transitioned playing basketball. So I can see how that could help progress somebody along that hadn't played basketball up to that point.
Yeah, well said. In 2013-14, Joel Embiid played one full season at Kansas, where he averaged 11 points, 8 rebounds, and about 1.5 assists. 2.5 blocks, and almost 1 full steal. And he did it while shooting 63% from the floor, 68% from the line. As a Jayhawk, Embiid played about 23 minutes per game. That year, he recorded 72 blocks. Wow. Shot 62% from the field. He also grabbed 8 rebounds a game. Each of those stats represents a Kansas record that he set as a freshman. Now, quick question, trivia, guys. Anyone want to guess how many three-pointers he made his freshman year?
I'm going to guess 0.
1.
10.
One of you is correct, and that is Maurice. He made 1 three-pointer as a freshman at Kansas. He took 5 attempts, so clearly Bill Self was like, look, man, you're playing on the block. So, and it's, obviously his game has grown.
So, fun fact, and I believe, I don't remember where I read this, but Joel, after his first practice at Kansas, wanted to quit because he thought he played so horribly, and Bill Self had to tell him, no, you're fantastic. Please stay on. So Joel was very much a hard critic of himself.
I think we're all glad that he stuck it out. And good coaching, good encouragement, Coach Self. So Embiid was a Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year. Impressively, he had at least 1 block in 26 of his 28 games played, including a season-high 8 blocks against Oklahoma State.
Ooh.
In his only college season, he had 8 double-doubles, including 7 over his final 17 games played. Now, we all know that he was drafted right after Kansas, his first season. How did he feel the night that he was drafted number 3 overall by the Sixers?
With the 3rd pick in the 2014 NBA Draft, the Philadelphia 76ers select Joel Embiid from Yaoundé, Cameroon, and the University of Kansas.
Joel, congratulations on going to Philadelphia. What was this night like for you, sitting there watching on TV, awaiting your fate, as opposed to what you thought it might be like being here?
It's different. Disappointed not to be there. I wish I could be there, but I'm excited. The Sixers just took me, and I still can't believe it. Having to start playing basketball so late and just being here, it just means that anything is possible.
So, Ben, what stands out to you about Joel's experience at Kansas and obviously entering the draft so young?
I think the Defensive Player of the Year in his 1 year, given how he'd only been playing basketball 3 years, the fact that his defensive IQ was already there, getting Defensive Player of the Year in a major conference. Yeah, just his development, it's incredible how his game has transformed to now.
Look, when he was coming out of college, it was surprising he slipped down to 3, and that was due to injury. But the Sixers got lucky, and I think he went to the perfect situation too, because the Sixers were in a rebuild. So I think if he had gone to either Milwaukee or I believe it was Cleveland ahead of the Sixers, I think his career might have came out different.
As we see now, his game has expanded so much. He's taking more mid-range jumpers. We'll get into that. More threes. I mean, he took 1 in Kansas. And I would say he's an above-average three-point. I wouldn't say above average, but he's an efficient three-point shooter now.
Yeah, I think Embiid playing at Kansas alongside Andrew Wiggins, and Andrew Wiggins seemed to be getting more love and attention for obvious reasons. He was more polished, and he was a 2 guard. He had a wide array of skills that Embiid did not develop yet. But to see Embiid at that young age playing at one of the biggest colleges in basketball, NCAA history, and to see him come so far is quite impressive. I think him being so athletic and jumping out the gym and being Defensive Player of the Year, like Ben said, it's something that, I'm sure he'll look back and say, wow, look how far I've come. He went from Joel do a 180 flying out of bounds. I know you guys have seen that footage of him completely uncoordinated. It's astounding how far he's come. But yeah, I think that Embiid has come a long way since his Kansas days.
He has a skill set that he can learn anything, and he can equate it and adapt it to the basketball court. We've seen that throughout his career, where he can learn one thing in practice and then bam, he's doing it in game. Like just step back threes out of nowhere. Like where did that come from?
That's a great point, because there are some players that once they get to a certain level or get to a certain age, they can't learn anymore. But we've seen it time and time again where Joel has done it. He's continued to do it. I can't wait to see what he adds next to his game. Hopefully, maybe even his passing's gotten better, and that's probably the weakest part of his game.
Now we're going to go to the other side of the comparison, and we're going to talk about a player who some would argue Embiid modeled his game after, and I think he actually admitted it. So now it's time to talk about Little Moses, a.k.a. The Dream, Hakeem Olajuwon. Now, before he earned those nicknames, he was born into a middle-class family that owned a cement business in Lagos, Nigeria. He is the third of 6 children. He attended high school and was on the soccer and handball team. A fellow student approached the handball coach and asked if Hakeem Olajuwon could play for the basketball team in a sports festival in Sokoto. The coach agreed, and his hoop experience was set. Now, his first name was actually Hakeem, for those people who aren't familiar with that. There was a little transition with his name. And his last name, Olajuwon, believe it or not, means something in his native language. So Olajuwon. I have $1 million for anyone that can guess what Olajuwon means in his native language. Anybody?
It'd be a pure guess. Is it something related to royalty?
You're close. You're very close.
Is it like the prince that is promised or something?
The prince that is promised. No.
Yeah, and that's a Game of Thrones reference there too.
Okay.
I tried my best. I tried my best on that one.
Look, I got $1 million to spend, guys. Someone's got to guess. You never know.
The president.
Nope.
Well, I cheated because I actually know this.
Oh my God.
I'll admit I cheated.
You're so
Always on
honorable,
top.
though. Yes, you are very honorable.
Yeah.
Always on top is the meaning of Olajuwon's last name. Even though I couldn't find his high school stats, here are his senior year stats at the University of Houston. In 1983, 1984, Hakeem Olajuwon averaged 16.8 points. He led the NCAA in rebounding at 13.5 per game. Block shots, pretty much 5.5 per game. Did you hear that? 5.5 blocks
per game. That is ridiculous.
And field goal percentage was 67%. He was a first-team All-America selection that season. Now, after the Houston Rockets won a coin flip with the Portland Trail Blazers for first pick in the 1984 draft, 1 year before the institution of the draft lottery, Houston selected Olajuwon with the first overall pick.
The Houston Rockets, who are represented here by owner Charlie Thomas and his daughter Tracy, select Hakeem Olajuwon of the University of Houston.
It is official. The well-attired Hakeem Olajuwon, who started playing basketball just 5 years ago from Nigeria, is now the #1 pick. He does not have to go too far. From the University of Houston, will now be playing, incredibly, alongside of Ralph Sampson for the Houston Rockets.
That was Hakeem getting drafted in 1984. How did he feel about being drafted by the Houston Rockets, the same city where he attended college?
I'm just very happy. I think this is the best thing can ever happen to me.
Hakeem was just telling me that he and his mom and dad have just flown here the last couple of days from Nigeria. So you got the whole family in on this one.
Oh, yes. I just want them to see what's going on in the United States.
Well, this has become, Houston that is, has become kind of a second home for you. I mean, you must feel comfortable knowing that you're going back to a place where people know you and you've got a lot of friends.
I think I'm just very lucky to stay in Houston. That's the best thing can ever happen to me.
Hakeem, tell me a little bit about some of the experiences you've had in playing against NBA players. I know in the past, during the summers, you've had a chance to go head-to-head with Moses Malone. Quite an experience.
Oh, yes. Moses Malone is a very big player, and he's very physical.
Maurice, what stands out to you about his college experience with Houston?
What was the name of their group they had there in Houston? Five
Slamma Jamma.
Yeah. With Clyde Drexler, who later on became a teammate. More on that later. They were a high-flying team. It was very fortunate for him coming from Africa to be in Houston and stay in Houston for his professional career. I'll say this about the draft. Now that we look back at it, we always ask, well, why did the Portland Trailblazers draft Sam Bowie or Michael Jordan?
Mm-hmm.
But we never asked the question, why did Houston draft Olajuwon over Michael Jordan? Because Olajuwon was supremely talented coming out of Houston. And there was no doubt about that first pick.
Maurice, I just wanted to piggyback off that. I mean, the real answer to your question is because centers were more valued than shooting guards at the time.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Absolutely.
That's the real answer to your question. But I mean, in hindsight, is 2020. Obviously, Jordan should have gone first. And if I remember correctly, Barkley was in that draft too. So it was a really loaded draft. And the Sixers got that because they made a trade with the Clippers earlier. Olajuwon, 5.5 blocks a game. Is that what you said, Uriah?
That's wild. That's a wild stat.
That is a very wild stat. I don't think that has ever even been remotely close since then. If it has, I'd be surprised. Except maybe one of those like 7'5" guys that play in the Division I AA. But like, still, that is crazy to think about.
Yeah.
Yeah. What stands out to me, the blocks and the rebounds in 40. Because college is only 40 minutes. That's nuts. It's almost 6 blocks in 40 minutes. And yeah, he went over MJ, arguably the GOAT. And they say that 84 is the greatest draft of all time. And going through Olajuwon, you're kind of like, I get how this guy went number one. Like, I honestly, some of these seasons, I wouldn't pick him over MJ, but I would pick him over the other guys. The other thing that stood out to me was he got to stay in Houston. Joel was kind of bouncing around from Florida, Kansas. One more thing I wanted to say is by the time Joel finally played, he was basically like a senior. Like he had done 4 years of college by the time the Sixers finally saw him because of injuries, but he developed the entire time. So it was almost like he'd done 4 years of college.
That's a good point.
The one thing that really stands out to me is the fact that who he played with at Houston. So Phi Slamma Jamma. It was a huge, huge thing in the 80s if you were a college basketball fan. And Hakeem Olajuwon was like a 1 and 2 tandem with Clyde Drexler, another Hall of Fame player that we're going to be comparing in the future. But one thing that I didn't mention that you guys, if you didn't know, you should know. Olajuwon led Houston to 3 consecutive Final Four appearances. But check this out. He lost back-to-back seasons in the championship. One against NC State, like the all-known Jim Valvano celebratory, like underdog story. NC State just came out of nowhere and won. And then Hakeem Olajuwon lost to Patrick Ewing the following year. It took him a while to become a champion, to be number one in in any level. But eventually in 1994, Hakeem Olajuwon did get a championship. But yeah, as far as college-wise, they were a force, the Houston Cougars.
Second quarter. Statistics.
Here's Embiid, some of the fans sensing a possible career high. Hits for 3. Yes!
106-97. Sixers. Morris to the cup. Do not go in there. Joel Embiid.
Position that time to not have to face Ben Simmons, that he cocould just go and attack the basket, even against a good defender.
In that play and able to come up with it. Inside Embiid, he's deep, a foul.
Oh, it goes! Acrobatic shot. Joel Embiid.
I almost didn't think he would get it off. That foul there by Grant on the late reach-in. And Embiid living his best life.
Now that we got the highlights out of the way, you guys heard how dominant Joel Embiid can be. Just want to go over some stats with you guys real quick. So Joel Embiid is 7 feet tall, 280 pounds. Big guy. He's worn number 21 for all of his career, except for one occasion after the death of Kobe Bryant, where he wore 24. He's been in the league since the 2013 draft, but he's played his first season back in 2016-17. His best season, and this is what we're going to look at for both guys here, is their MVP season. So Joel's happened this past season, the 22-23 season. He led the NBA in scoring with 33 points per game. He averaged 10 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 blocks. He shot about 55% from the field and 33% from the three-point line. I also averaged about a steal per game and 3.5 turnovers and about 3 personal fouls. So before we get into your guys' reaction to that, let me just tell you some career highs here real quick for Joel. His career high is 59 points. That just happened this past season. His career high in rebounds is 22. His career high in assists is 13. He's had 5 steals as a career high and 7 blocks, 9 turnovers, and 6 fouls. So, that being said, let me go with Ben first. Ben, what is your reaction to that stat line?
The 33 points for a center in the modern NBA is nuts. The fact that this guy's been leading the league in scoring in a guard-dominated, perimeter-dominated league is pretty crazy. So I think that the scoring is what stands out the most.
Yeah, absolutely. And he also led the league in scoring last season, too, with 30 points per game. Maurice, what do you think?
When it comes to scoring, this man is dominant. There's not many guards or forwards who can score 59 points, yet alone a 7'1", 280-pound center who's considered a quote-unquote low-post player.
Absolutely. And Uriah, wrap this up for us.
Yeah, the 6 fouls. I can't believe Embiid ever got 6 fouls. Where'd you get that stat?
Right,
where'd you get that stat from?
You know what?
That's an advanced stat, Lucas.
Advanced stat, right here.
6 fouls.
Absolutely,
man. All right, so let me get serious now. So
okay.
I think the rebounds. I wish Embiid could play more on the glass, but I think what happens is he's drawn away from the basket to protect the rim. So that prevents him from getting 2 or 3 more rebounds per game.
He had one season with Brett where he averaged 14 rebounds.
Yeah, I was about to say that. His third season, he averaged about 14.
Yeah. Quite honestly, the scoring component that Maurice said is really phenomenal in this era of NBA basketball. And as far as his high total for assists, that was impressive. Double-digit assists. I think Embiid is an underrated passer. If he was given more opportunity to create, I think he would average more assists. But him being the number 1 option in Philly, it's no question why he led the league in scoring.
Well, Uriah, think about it. He's the number 1 scoring option, and he's still averaging 4 assists for a center. I would have to look up the stats. I don't have them in front of me, but I suspect among centers last season, that had to be in the top 5.
Yeah.
If I had to guess on that one. But that being said, you guys have all great takes here. I think we haven't seen a center like this score dominantly since probably Hakeem, to be honest, and or Shaq. The other thing that I just want to say this too, besides Hakeem, Uriah kind of teased this a little bit. Kobe Bryant was also a big inspiration. Obviously he changed his jersey number after Kobe's death for a game or 2. I can't remember how many games, but you can see it in his game too. Very fluid motion in his shot, very smooth in his, a little bit more smooth in his actions than the other guy that we're talking about here, but I'll wait until we get to him to talk about him.
And a steal by Strickland, a lazy pass. Olajuwon blocks it away. Wow. Oh, Ewing took a shove from Olajuwon and then threw up the facial. Well, he tried to challenge and get around Olajuwon. And Hakeem gets a block. He gets a second block. Stiff going to try it again. Yeah, he gets a third block. When will they ever learn? Never, apparently. Olajuwon says, get that stuff out of here. Cassell for 4. Oh, Olajuwon.
Olajuwon coming in on the left side. No block out by Mason, and it's just all Olajuwon getting up in the air with room to operate.
Otis Thorpe working on coming through. He slammed it home from right field.
So we're going to compare Joel's MVP season to Hakeem. So we're going to look at Hakeem's season right now. That was the 93-94 season. In that season, he averaged 27 points per game, 12 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, 4 blocks. He also shot 53% from the field and 42% from the three-point line. He actually attempted a couple of three-pointers that season, guys. He has it should be noted, though, for his career, he only shot 20% from the three-point line. So that was an outlier season.
I'll be curious how many total attempts he took, but
I can tell you that. I can tell you that real quick.
Oh, get to it.
He took 124 for his career.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. He did play a long time, but I didn't expect that number to be so big.
Well, I mean, he does. So before I get to the career highs, you brought up the jump shot. Now I got to talk about it. His jump shot compared to Joel's, it wasn't that fluid. It really wasn't. If you've seen his highlights, you know it's a little bit more rigid. Kind of looks like it's the release. It's not smooth.
Right.
But it worked, and he definitely had a mid-range game just like Joel. Mm-hmm. Honestly, their games are very similar in terms of how they score and even defensively. The biggest thing that I saw when I was watching highlights, because I wasn't born when all this was going on, to be honest, guys. Not calling you guys out at all by any stretch of the imagination.
You're calling yourself out.
I'm young. I'm okay with being 30.
Still drinking Similac, man.
Do you remember Toronto Hakeem Olajuwon?
Okay, there you go, Ben. But no, the career highs for Hakeem actually mirror it. And I will say the difference between Hakeem, the biggest difference is that Hakeem was a much more active defender. They were probably the same level of defenders, but Joel is not nearly active on that end as Hakeem is now. That being said, let me go to career high points. Career high points, he had 52. Rebounds, 25.
Wow.
Assists, 12. Steals, 8. Blocks. You think it's over or under 10, guys? I'll let you guys do the over-under.
I already know it's over.
Way over.
Yeah.
Probably like 15.
12. Career high, 11 turnovers. So, and before you guess your eye, yes, career high, 6 fouls. So,
there we go.
That's a little fun. Anyway, but that being said, guys, Hakeem, like I said, yes, Uriah.
No, I just want to go first.
Okay. Go ahead, Uriah. I was going to pick you first anyway. What is your reaction besides the fact that he had a career high 6 fouls?
All right. So I have some footage that I want you guys to hear because Hakeem was so special because of this feat that I think has only been done 4 times in the history of the NBA. Listen to this.
Gets it back out to Lou. He'll put it up. Yeah, there it is. Way to go, Lou. 18 points. 16 rebounds, 10 assists, and 11 block shots. Only the third quadruple double in the history of the NBA.
I just want to say I didn't even know that, so that's impressive.
When you think of Hakeem Olajuwon, you better recognize greatness because at the time he's only the third player to ever record a quadruple double. Mm-hmm. So when you think about statistics, you think about productivity on both sides of the ball. Mm-hmm. Hakeem Olajuwon was a force to be reckoned with, especially in the 80s and the early 90s. But I think the one stat, Lucas, you mentioned that stood out was the rebounds. I think the career high was 25. He was banging down low against centers like Mark Eaton, against centers like Jack Sikma, against centers like obviously Patrick Ewing, David Robinson, Shaquille O'Neal. And to be honest with you, to get 25 rebounds in that era is remarkable.
Going on the rebound stat there, Uriah, he led the league twice in rebounds with 14 and 13 and a half.
Wow.
And from 88 to 90. So, and also he led the league in blocks 3 times. 3 out of 4 year span. So, Maurice, what do you think about all those stats?
I think that's a testament to his Well, first of all, conditioning, because
Absolutely.
Yeah, when you're that big, and we see it with Joel, it's hard to rebound. It's hard to be active defensively and even attempt block shots. And then on the other end, still score, be your primary offensive focus on the other end. That's pretty amazing. And like Uriah said, I mean, you going from the mid 80s, Moses Malone, Charles Barkley, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, just all these great, big, tall, long, athletic rebounders. And for Hakeem to do all of that is truly amazing.
Yeah, I like what Uriah said about going through the highlights of Hakeem, the era he was in. We forgot Mutombo.
Yeah, Mutombo. Yeah,
he got early career Mutombo, early career Alonzo Mourning. Like, it was a centers and a power forwards league back then. I was a little surprised he didn't score more. I would say that's the one thing. Like 27, 28 was his high. You saw it in the playoffs though. He really upped his game. But I think that was the biggest surprise. And then I don't want to get into the teammates yet, but it was interesting to see that however that Houston Rockets team was constructed in the mid-90s, I feel like teams still model how you play around a big from that team. Like that, was it Rudy Tomjanovich was their coach?
Yes.
He essentially modeled the modern, and we still, Giannis, Embiid, Shaq, even Jokic to a degree, we model after that team's success.
Great point.
Yeah,
absolutely great point. And just another fun nugget here. Hakeem was in his prime until he turned 35, about 5 seasons before he retired. He was averaging above 20 points per game. Just to show you how great conditioning he was, going back to Maurice's point.
Third quarter, accolades.
Joel, you said your journey to the NBA was improbable, but it was because of your hard work and determination, and that's why these fans in Philly love you. Congratulations. You are the 2023 Kia NBA MVP.
Wow. Thank you, guys. I just want to thank God, first and foremost, because, I wouldn't have been here without him. And obviously, my teammates have been a big part of it. And obviously, I wouldn't be standing here, if you haven't been winning. And, obviously, like I said, these guys, they did everything possible for me to be in this situation. And obviously, my parents, my family has been a big part of it. Obviously, we went through such a, huge tragedy, losing my little brother, but, we stuck together. We went through a lot. And, my family, my son is somewhere over there.
This guy's got some accomplishments, man. So Joel Embiid, we'll start from the beginning. His rookie year was 2016-2017 season, technically his third year in the league, and he was on the all-rookie first team, and he was up for Rookie of the Year. His second year, he just started dominating right away. He was All-NBA second team, All-NBA defensive second team in his second year. He's a 4-time All-NBA second team, 2018, 2019, 2021, and 2022. I believe every time has been to, 2018, I believe, was Anthony Davis, but all the other 3 were Jokic. He is a 3-time All-NBA defensive second team, 2018, 2019, 2021. This one was surprising. I thought he should have had more. All-NBA first team, 2023. He is a 2-time NBA scoring champion, 2 years in a row, 2022, 2023. And he is the 2023 NBA Most Valuable Player, and he is a 6-time straight All-Star from 2018 to 2023. And he has been in the league. He's entering his 10th year. Maurice, what do you think about that?
Well, I think the first thing that comes to my mind is because Embiid's more recent, so we think about a little bit more than Olajuwon. But when it came to scoring, I think Embiid was the first scoring center to win the scoring championship since, what was it, Shaq? It was
Moses
Shaq
Malone.
and Moses Malone.
Yeah.
I want to say Moses Malone and Bob McAdoo, but I will look that up. My point is, it's very rare that a center can dominate a league, especially nowadays where it's more wing-based, to go out there and score and not only be the best scorer, but be a dynamic scorer, be an effective scorer. You know, we watch Embiid, and sometimes you're like, wow, he has 20 points already? Where did it come from? But that's just how easy it is for him. And his proficiency to get to the free throw line as well.
Yeah, the free throws are pretty astounding, the volume, and I think we'll look back on this guy's career and be like, wow, this guy was efficient.
I'm going to go the defensive route simply because we know how adroit Embiid can be with the offensive side of the skill set that he's been able to emulate, taking different moves from various players throughout his career, whether it's Dirk Nowitzki, whether it's Kobe Bryant, whether it's Hakeem Olajuwon. Offensively, he is a juggernaut. Defensively, though, I remember this season, I screen recorded different parts of a game, I think against the Portland Trailblazers, and Joel Embiid impacts so many shots throughout a game. I think people kind of overlook it. Not every play ends with a block or a steal and has to be considered a phenomenal, impactful play. Embiid, he really makes guys think twice about even entering the lane. So when I think about his accolades, Ben, that you mentioned, his defensive stats and his impact on any game that he plays is great. And I think he's, with Nick Nurse, I think he might shine even more and get some more accolades defensively.
Yeah. I like that you said that. And I think the parallels, because Joel is only 29, the parallels of Hakeem and Joel, I think like Hakeem didn't start getting his defensive player of the years until his early 30s. So I'm excited. I think I'm with you. I think that might be his next chapter, is like first team all defense, defensive player of the year, maybe even a rebounding champion.
I think we're all avoiding the elephant in the room, so I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Anybody that watched that 2016 season, his quote-unquote rookie year, knows that he should have been rookie of the year that year. He was by far the best player in that. And it went to Malcolm Brogdon, who has had a decent NBA career since then. It was a 50, 40, 90 guy. And I give Malcolm Brogdon all the respect. I like him as a role player, like him as like a third or fourth best player on a team. But that was Joel's. And I get Joel didn't play in a lot of games, but the gap between him and Malcolm Brogdon was so big that I think that that's one that he got robbed of. And you can make the argument that he got robbed of one or two MVPs as well. I think,
was that because of his not playing games?
I think that was a big part of it. I think he only played about, 30 games, Maurice? Was it 30?
I think it was like
32.
50.
32
games.
30?
His rookie year, he only played 32 games?
Yeah, I think he broke his leg or something.
I think it was a knee thing. It wasn't.
He tore his meniscus.
Yeah, meniscus.
Oh, his knee? Okay.
Yeah. And real quick, to clean up one thing I said, there's only been 6 centers to win the scoring title.
Okay.
Joel Embiid, Shaquille O'Neal, David Robinson, Bob McAdoo, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and Wilt Chamberlain.
Wow. That's good company.
And I'm pretty sure that Moses was the last center before Joel to average over 30 to win that award.
Yeah, the scoring title is really impressive. I just want to end on this with Joel that I thought was funny. Giannis announced that he's working out with Hakeem Olajuwon, and Joel works out with essentially a guard coach in Drew Hanlon. And it would be nice if those guys could switch those coaches for a summer. Just land on that.
Hakeem, as I've been told to pronounce it tonight, I'm here representing millions and millions of basketball fans around the world to tell you that you've had a spectacular NBA career. You've led your team to its best season ever. You're a certain Hall of Famer, and you do it with an elegance and a grace that's spectacular. Congratulations on being the 1994 NBA Most Valuable Player.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All praise is due to God. I would like to extend my gratitude to the fans of Houston. And as you know, basketball is a team sport. And I'd like to extend my gratitude to my teammates for their contributions for making this happen. Thank you very much. And my coaches, thank you very much.
All right, so this is quite the list here. So Hakeem Olajuwon, right away, his rookie year, he gets the NBA All-Defensive Second Team, same as Joel. He, just like Joel, gets All-NBA Rookie First Team in '85, along with Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan won the Rookie of the Year that year, obviously. In '87, he was All-NBA First Team, as well as '88 in 1990, '93, '94. So he's a 5-time All-NBA Defensive First Team. He is a 2-time NBA Defensive Player of the Year in '93 and '94. He is 3-time All-NBA Third Team, 91, 95, 99. All-NBA Second Team, 86, 90, 96. 6-time All-NBA First Team, 87, 89, 93, 94, 97. That's pretty impressive with the centers that he was up against in that era. He won the IBM Award in 1983. He is a 2-time rebounding champion in '89 and '90, 3-time blocks leader in '90, '91, '93. His jersey is retired from the Houston Rockets. He is part of the NBA anniversary team, the 50th team, the 75th team. He is a 2-time NBA champion in '94, '95. He is a 2-time Finals MVP the same year as '94, '95. He is the NBA Most Valuable Player in that '94 season. He is the Defensive Player of the Year in that season as well. He is a 12-time NBA All-Star from 85 to 90, and then 92 to 97. And Hakeem Olajuwon, get ready for it, guys, is the only player to win the NBA MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, and Finals MVP all in the same year. And he did that in the '94 season.
Wow.
Only player to ever do that.
Mic drop.
And yeah, just complete mic drop. And the thing about Hakeem, I'm going to land on this, is you'll notice the years that he won these awards is when Jordan stepped out to play baseball and retire because of his dad. And there's a little bit of an asterisk next to it, but I think that it's just coincidence. I don't think that's related as much. I think this Rockets team and Hakeem just hit their peak at that time. Anyway, what do you guys think about that? I mean, I just listed off a lot of stuff.
The guy was great. Look, I mean, he had a long career. He did unique things that nobody else did. I mean, I know there's been players that won MVPs, final MVPs, regular season and Defensive Player of the Years. The most recent one I can think of is Giannis, but he didn't do it all in the same season. That in itself is just mind-blowing. And for me, I think when it came to being a complete center on both sides of the floor, being active constantly on both sides of the floor, we haven't seen to the elite level that Hakeem was. We haven't seen that since, even when we're looking at Joel.
Yeah, I would just like to add, for what Ben was saying, I don't think there was an asterisk at all on that 94
Absolutely,
or 95 Rockets teams. I think at that particular point in his career, Hakeem Olajuwon was so dominant. I don't think a Jordan-led team with Bill Cartwright or whoever their center was could stop.
No disrespect, Bill.
No disrespect. I don't think they could have stopped Hakeem in his style of play.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's a good point. I think that the hardware that Olajuwon has, comparing these two players, right now it seems unfair for Olajuwon to put together so many seasons of being productive on both sides of the ball MVP, Defensive Player of the Year. I do think it's because of the era, it would be very challenging for Joel Embiid to lead the league in blocks as well as rebounding, simply because the game has changed so much. There's so much more perimeter play, so many more three-pointers. So you have less opportunities to get blocks just because in the 80s, guys weren't shooting three-pointers as much. Guys were going into the paint, trying to make layups, challenging the defenders in Houston. So I think it's going to be tough for Embiid to catch up, but his story is yet to be written. He still has a lot more basketball to play.
I think you see it in the playoffs with Joel's defense, how it's upped and that the potential's there. And with a new defensive-minded coach, I do think he can reach some of these defensive accolades. But yeah, it's real tough. I mean, and it is interesting. I just want to land on this, that both guys were getting these awards. Jokic is arguably already a top 20 all time, and that's who Embiid's having to battle with. Jokic and Giannis are top 20 all time, and you could say Giannis is stretch 5. So both guys were in a peak era of big men, like all-time greats. So Hakeem a little bit more depth, but Jokic and Giannis, it's been those three guys the last 3 or 4 years.
You can't even discount like Sabonis or Bam at this point, or Anthony Davis either at this point.
Yeah, AD's got some of these. Exactly. So, but I would say Jokic and Giannis are probably, some might say, top 20 all time already.
Fourth quarter, teammates.
Like what he's done on a nightly basis. Like when I say that you can literally see fear from other teams' 5 men, like I mean it. And I just think when you look at somebody that's doing what he's doing on that dominant of a level and being a 5-man, like that's even more impressive to me. Seeing a 5-man go out there and do that, dictate a game, dominate a game from where he plays, it's impressive. I think like the biggest thing is even when we have him out, what we miss the most is the fact defensively.
All right, it's time to talk about Joel Embiid's teammates. For people that don't know, if not familiar with the process, he named himself the process, but the process was simply just basically tanking seasons to get as many high-end draft picks so the team could be successful overall. Joel Embiid didn't play his first 2 years due to injury. When he did play, he was joined on the court by another first-round pick, Ben Simmons. Now, we all have our opinions on Ben Simmons. He's a very controversial player, controversial figure on and off the court. Before I even go any further with this, I just want to throw it around everybody. What is your first thoughts when you see Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons on the court together?
First thoughts is they needed more time. They need more time. I'll be real.
Their skill sets really didn't match, and that's going to be an overall theme with Joel Embiid compared to Olajuwon, where his teams were constructed around him much better. Okay. Joel Embiid's teams weren't really constructed around him, and for Ben Simmons to be as talented as he was, they weren't really comparable. They didn't match well with each other, blend well with each other. You're right?
I think it's unfortunate because defensively, they were a great 1-2 punch. Best perimeter defender in the league, arguably, and then best rim protector in Joel Embiid. So it's unfortunate that it didn't work out.
To piggyback off of what you guys said, I'm going to say wasted potential is the idea that comes to my mind. And that's more of a knock on Ben than it is Joel. But
yeah, I think why I said that was like you draft Tatum or a guard like that, and you fit, or even the Bridges thing, like a more of a, and that the pieces work is my point. Or if Markelle Fultz works out, so that's what I mean by it's bad luck.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah, just to keep going. They drafted Ben Simmons with the first overall pick. They drafted Markelle Fultz with the first overall pick. Both of them didn't work out well in the long term, but they also bring in guys like Jimmy Butler, who could be a future Hall of Famer. They bring in guys like James Harden, currently on the team, who is a future Hall of Famer. So Joel's had some guys around him that, can elevate him and potentially win an NBA championship. As of this recording, it hasn't worked out well. I'll say that. But yeah, he's had some good teammates. And another teammate I'll mention is Tobias Harris. And like the sound clip said, Tobias Harris, whose overall game has sacrificed a lot since being here with Joel Embiid and others. Actually, the two of them together have the most wins.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I'm not surprised by that.
Yeah, with 180. So of all the teammates Joel Embiid's had, a lot of skilled players, a lot of high draft picks, Tobias has been the one staple that Joel can depend on to at least get a W night in, night out.
Absolutely. Another future Hall of Famer you didn't mention was Dwight Howard. JJ Redick's not a Hall of Famer, but he was probably the one that really helped Joel flourish in his early years as an offensive player.
He might get it off his college accolades, Lucas.
Oh yeah,
there's an outside shot. Yeah.
I would say one thing we've noticed about Joel is he plays really well off of guards who can, that dribble handoff. They can shoot from the outside like a JJ Redick or even a Seth Curry for the one season he's been with Joel.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, timing is everything in life, and it also applies to sports. And if you think about how Markelle Fultz is starting to put his game together down in Orlando, had he been the player that Philadelphia had hoped when he came out of Washington and meshed with Joel Embiid, again, another great defensive player, underrated playmaker. I think Markelle Fultz is an above average playmaker. If he had worked out next to Joel Embiid, maybe the Sixers advance in a few of these series in the past few years.
Maybe.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, you were going to go, Lucas?
No, I was just going to say, yeah, maybe. Look, the Sixers, for all the good draft picks that they've made, they've also had some big whiffs. So.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, Jahlil Okafor, Nerlens Noel. I mean, serviceable NBA players, don't get me wrong, but for where they were drafted, kind of disappointing.
Yeah, I'd say Zaire Smith was the biggest. Michael Bridges, because he's a perfect fit for Joel's game. And I'm with you, Ryan. It's about timing. It's about roster construction. And I actually do like Tobias Harris as a teammate. He obviously has that big contract that's controversial, but I think consistency is a bummer with Joel's teammates, and that's not all on his fault. It's people not liking coaches, other players, the front office. I mean, this guy's dealt with a lot of scandal with the owners getting fired over fake Twitter accounts. I mean, the process has been pretty weird.
So I just have to say one thing about JJ Redick. I will never understand for the life of me how he spent 2 years in Philly. He averaged the most points he'd ever averaged in his career, mainly because he's playing with Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid is a much more potent offensive player than Dwight Howard ever was and will be. So for him to come here for 2 years and then he becomes a free agent, and within 24 hours of the deadline, he skips town and goes to New Orleans when all these guys are like, it's all about winning. I want to win. I want to be at a place where I can win. But he doesn't re-sign with the Sixers when he repeatedly goes on air on his own podcast saying, I really wanted to be in Philly. Well, why didn't you sign in Philly? Stay next to Joel Embiid and keep chipping away.
I think I'll be on his defense here. I think from what I understood with that Jimmy Butler interview that he did, they weren't going to offer him barely anything. And if you can make more money, you make, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, they were going to give him because they gave him two really big contracts in a row, year after year. And I think this time around they were going to probably, if I had to guess, this is just me guessing, probably like the mid-level or maybe a minimum contract.
But you would agree, Lucas, that they were a good tandem with the dribble handoff and JJ. I thought
absolutely.
He fit well with the Sixers, and I really like JJ Redick playing with Philly, but he's doing pretty good for himself now.
Yeah, and we're not into Hakeem yet, Maurice, but it is interesting, like how the type of players you need around a dynamic big, are elite guard play and 3-and-D guys. And Joel seems to thrive, with guys like Jimmy. I think a lot of it isn't his fault. And like kind of what Lucas is alluding to is we don't always know behind the scenes. And like, it's tough. Like, look at Giannis right now. It's tough when you live in not that Philly or Milwaukee are smaller markets, but they're not Miami. They're not LA. And a lot of these guys live there in the off season. So it's tough to compete with that.
Hakeem Olajuwon used to say this to me all the time.
Can you bring me some water?
No, he used to say.
Did you get the joke? Did you get it?
love that crew.
Oh man,
that's a
Inside
funny. That's
NBA
a funny one.
is the best for a reason. Okay, this is the real teammate quote that I want you guys to get.
He's the most honorable man I've ever met in my life. Most honorable, Dre. Like, if Hakeem, like right now, if I was stuck on a highway and they gave me a cell phone, they said, you got 3 people to call to come get you, I'm calling Hakeem. He's going to be one of the 3. He's always going to do exactly what he says what he's going to do. He never variants from what he says. He's so honorable in what his word is. Like we had a saying in New York, word is bond, your word is bond. Yeah. Like, no, his word is bond. It is 100% of what it is. He means it all the time. Always the most honorable dude I've ever been around. So on a basketball court, you're going to trust it. Yo, Kenny, I'm going to be there. I'm coming. Don't worry. He's going to be there. He said it. He's going to be there. He's going to be there. So the most underrated thing was his word. The second most underrated as a physical standpoint was he would be unbelievable in today's game because he could switch 1 to 5. And so guy come off the pick and you got the 1, he's moving his feet. And if you throw the lob, he's going back to still try to contest the lob. I've never seen a player that could double in the pick and roll and get back to his man on the roll and still block the shot. He was the most unique athlete in terms of instinct.
All right, let's talk about Hakeem Olajuwon teammates. Drafted in 1984. His first teammate was a draft pick the previous year, number 1 overall pick the previous year, 1983 NBA draft. That's Ralph Sampson. Both of them had a huge impact defensively, blocking, scoring, and just overall disruption. And I think the first memory I have is the playoffs in, I want to say 85, when they were playing against the Lakers, and they gave Kareem a bunch of fits. The 2 of them together, Kareem couldn't do anything. And this is somebody I'm in my late 30s, so I went back and watched these videos, and between the Lakers and the Boston Celtics, the Houston Rockets, they were a disruption to that 80s run of the Lakers and the Boston Celtics. You're right. You got something to say?
Yeah, you mentioned the Boston Celtics and Lakers. I remember as a kid, guys, this is before internet, and obviously like some games weren't even televised. I remember hearing about this game-winning shot that Ralph Sampson hit. And if you go back and watch, he contorts his body in the air. There's 1 second left, and he can't even touch the ground with his feet or else the shot won't count. In midair, he did this weird shot and it went in, and that propelled the Houston Rockets to go to the NBA Finals. They took out the Lakers, guys, and it was Hakeem Olajuwon's, I think it was his first year in the finals, but Ralph Sampson was a problem. He went to the University of Virginia, and little known fact, the year before Olajuwon was drafted, Ralph Sampson was the first pick, and the only reason why that was is because the Indiana Pacers and the Rockets, they had a coin flip, and Indiana lost the coin flip, so Houston was able to draft 7'4" Ralph Sampson, and then in the next season they got Olajuwon. So talk about luck. Man, talk about the Sixers having the opposite luck.
Absolutely.
Houston had some really good luck in the 80s, but yeah, Ralph Sampson was a really good pickup for them. Yeah.
I have a question because I didn't get to see this. So who was the quote-unquote power forward there because they were both above 7 feet.
Olajuwon. Ralph Sampson was 7'4".
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay, because I'm looking at Basketball Reference, they still have him listed as center the whole time. So that's why I was asking. So he kind of did a Tim Duncan thing. That's basically
Duncan and Robinson. Yep.
But we still remember him as a center and not a power forward at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was a different era. Like 4 years of college, I believe both guys played, so they were a little more seasoned.
Yeah.
But we haven't really seen that. I was surprised that in the second season they made the NBA Finals in that era.
Yeah.
86, that's like prime Magic. That's impressive. That was probably the most, outside of the only player to ever win those awards. I would say that 86 season making the finals and honestly taking the Celtics to 6.
Yeah.
That was impressive.
That was the Celtics' best team.
Yeah.
86 Celtics. Move on a little bit. Let's talk about Hakeem's championship seasons, 94, 95. And like I said earlier, there was no asterisks behind them because those two teams were constructed for Olajuwon in an era where they had a three-point shot, but the three-point shot wasn't as permeated as it is now in today's game. He played with guys like Kenny the Jet Smith, as we heard in the clip, Vernon Maxwell, Mario Elie, and Robert Horry, a young Robert Horry. Those four guys alone shot the three-point ball and made a huge difference in their championship run because in 94, guys just weren't shooting threes like they are now.
Yeah.
It's a complete opposite of how we look at the three-point shot today as it was in the 90s. Just to go on a little bit, like I mentioned, Sam Cassell. And then in the 95 season, they brought in Clyde Drexler, who was another Hall of Famer that played with Olajuwon, I want to say 3 years?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 3 years, 90 till 98, yeah. And Charles Barkley for 4 years. So he's played with a lot of talented players. And, of course, Vince Carter with his last season in Toronto. So he's played with a lot of guys who complement his skill set. And that's a big difference between him and Joel. The guys just haven't really complimented him. But we will say Joel has a lot of time left. But for Hakeem's career, the complementary players that he's been with is really good.
Look, I was a big Sam Cassell fan when I was a young teen and all that, when he was towards the end of his career. I love Sam Cassell. That was the only teammate I got to really see that had a prominent role with him. But I mean, look, like you said, the team was built around him with three-point shooting. That's how we do it today. Kudos to their front office. I don't know who their GM or who was in charge of the front office at the time, but they clearly knew how to build a team.
I agree with the roster construction. Like, they figured it out, but there's about 6 years where he was either a first-round exit or he didn't make the playoffs from 88 to 93, and that's clearly roster construction. So I think they figured it out in the early mid-90s to just put like 3-and-D and guards around him. Not to diminish, but yeah, there was about 6 years. And I think that's more praise for and hope for Joel at still being 29 is that, yeah, with the right, if you get the Sam Cassells, the Kenny the Jet Smiths, the Robert Horrys around you. I mean, look at what we just saw with Denver. Denver won a chip because they stuck with guys who knew their role. They even played Christian Brown because he was a 3-and-D guy. So I think roster construction is so important. Yeah. And they really found that 94-95 season.
Yeah, it's a good grab, Ben. I think watching that team over the years in the construction of that roster totally fit what they were trying to accomplish with a center as the focal point of their offense. It just seemed like it was all coming together at the right time. There was grumblings at one point in Hakeem's career where they thought he was going to leave. And he was so frustrated, which is comparable and parallel to where Joel Embiid is right now. All these rumors flying around. Will he stick around in Philly? But when it comes to Hakeem and his teammates, oh my goodness. I really think that your point, Maurice, about the Bulls and who would have won, I think they would have given the Bulls a run for their money because they had Kenny Smith shooting threes. Sam Cassell was a proficient three-point shooter. Vernon Maxwell was a good shooter. Robert Horry, Big Shot Bob, who a lot of people remember him wearing a Lakers jersey, a Spurs jersey, being a spot-up shooter. But guess what? When he played with Houston, that dude was mega athletic. He could get up with the best of them. Mario Elie was a really great role player on that team. So, and that's not even mentioning Drexler, who, when he got there that second year for that second championship run, was an integral part of their success. So clearly Hakeem has had more continuity in terms of players that stuck around, players that knew their role, players that sacrificed things so that Houston could have success. So clearly, I believe that Houston had the right recipe for Hakeem.
Yeah, and just to wrap it up, totally different era. Free agency isn't as big as it is now. So when you can build a roster and they can stay together for 4 or 5 years, that makes a huge difference. Big difference. And I got one question before we move on. Who won the most games with Hakeem Olajuwon in his career?
Wow. I should know this, but I'm stuck.
It's an obscure name.
Oh,
but I'm throwing it out there.
Say, I feel like it's an obscure name.
Scotty Brooks.
Someone who's played a long time.
All right.
There you go, Ben. There you go, Ben.
Otis Thorpe.
I was thinking Otis Thorpe. Okay.
Otis Thorpe played 500.
I know. It was researching. I saw. Otis Thorpe has been here forever.
There you go. All about the research. Played 523 games with Hakeem Olajuwon, and together they won 311 games.
That's
a lot of games.
That's nice. That's a good stat.
Now that we've set up the debate with all the facts on Joel Embiid and Hakeem Olajuwon, it's time for you to make your case.
At this point, it's not about our opinion, it's about yours.
We'll see you on your favorite social media platform, ready to check out your takes. Chime in on our Instagram at NBA_NowAndThen_pod, on Twitter at NBA_NowAndThen, and on our Facebook page, NBA Now and Then.
Okay, guys, this has been NBA Now and Then, the greatest comparisons. Peace.
Have a good day.
See ya.